What's up, everyone? Welcome to the May 21st edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. As a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at PrizePicks. You also get a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. We have a 6-game MLB slate tonight, so as usual, we're going to take a look at 3 of the top tournament stacks and 3 of the top tournament pitchers using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool on the Awesemo.com website. Starting with the top 3 stacks, number 3, the Kansas City Royals are taking on Joe Ryan. They're projected for about 3% ownership with a 6% chance of being the top stack and a 9% chance of being the top value stack. Kansas City has been very bad offensively this year, and they're also without Salvador Perez, which certainly weakens their lineup. They only have a 79 WRC+. Ryan's not a bad pitcher either. He has struck out 24.2% of hitters this year. He does have an elevated 4.32 xFIP. There's a pretty good chance that comes back to earth as the sample size gets larger, but only a 6-game slate. You kind of run into situations where you have to stack some uncomfortable teams to get away from the field. Kansas City certainly fits the bill. Number 2, the Oakland Athletics, another horrible offense with a 79 WRC+ so far this year. Taking on Michael Lorenzen. The A's are very bad, like I said, but they're only projected for about 4% ownership. They have a 7% chance of being the top scoring stack. They have a 13% chance of being the top value stack. Only a 3.8 implied run total, but Lorenzen hasn't been great this year. Only a 17.3% strikeout percentage, 4.16 xFIP. Oakland is a nice contrarian stack to get to. And number 1, the Baltimore Orioles taking on Jeffrey Springs tonight in Baltimore. It is hot in Baltimore. It is always humid in Baltimore, so the ball should fly. 8% projected ownership going to Baltimore with an 11% chance of being the top scoring stack and a 15% chance of being the top value stack. Baltimore's offense also should be a little bit stronger going forward. They called up Adley Rutschman. He will make his major league debut tonight. He's $2,400 on FanDuel. They did a good job getting him into the player pool, so you can use him, and it does make that stack a little bit more appealing. The top 3 tournament pitchers on FanDuel. Number 3, Michael Lorenzen in that favorable matchup against Oakland. I mentioned Oakland as a stack being a bit underowned. Lorenzen himself is going underowned as well. Projected for about 7% ownership with a 9% chance of being the top scoring pitcher and a 9% chance of being the top value pitcher at $7,900. In addition to the horrible 79 WRC+ for Oakland, they've also struck out 24.1% of the time as a team. So it sets up as a pretty good spot, or a very good spot for Michael Lorenzen. Number 2, Kyle Bradish, $7,800 price tag, taking on the Rays. Tough pitching conditions tonight with the heat and humidity in Baltimore, but there are some strikeouts to be had in Tampa Bay's lineup. They've struck out about 23.5% of the time this year. They do have a 108 WRC+, but they're also missing Brandon Lau, which makes the matchup a little bit more appealing for Bradish. He's been solid so far in the major leagues. He has struck out 25.3% of hitters. He has a 3.44 xFIP, and he's also getting a familiar battery mate with Adley Rutschman making his debut behind the plate. Bradish is projected for about 1% ownership with a 10% chance of being the top scoring pitcher and an 11% chance of being the top value pitcher. And number 1, Joe Ryan taking on the Kansas City Royals. Mentioned Kansas City in the top stack section. They weren't getting much ownership, but Ryan's not getting much ownership either. 8% projected ownership, 10% chance of being the top scoring pitcher, 6% chance of being the top value pitcher. Ryan is $9,100. Kansas City only has a 3.6 implied run total. They have a 90 WRC+ so far this year and only about a 20.2% strikeout percentage. But as I mentioned before, they're missing Salvador Perez, so this is a weaker lineup as well for Joe Ryan to go up against. So to recap, the top 3 tournament stacks on FanDuel: number 3, the Kansas City Royals; number 2, the Oakland Athletics; and number 1, the Baltimore Orioles. And the top 3 tournament pitchers: number 3, Michael Lorenzen; number 2, Kyle Bradish; and number 1, Joe Ryan.